for those that don't know, the OnePlus Z is another phone that's coming out from OnePlus. The reported launch date on that is July 2020. That phone is supposed to be a cheaper OnePlus phone, cheaper than the OnePlus 8 that's out, cheaper than the OnePlus 8 Pro, and it's not going to be priced at the $700 price point like the OnePlus 8 is. It's not going to be priced at $900 like the OnePlus 8 Pro is. And then I read an article that's saying that it might be priced at $500. Now, here's the thing. If it's priced at $500, that's the price I was hoping the Pixel 5 was going to be priced at. So this OnePlus Z is supposed to be a cheaper phone. It's not going to have the most top end specs, but it's supposed to bring back what OnePlus is about, which really doesn't make a lot of sense because that's not what OnePlus was about. OnePlus was about putting the top end performance specs on a phone and pricing it cheap, or at least reasonable. And that's so it's kind of a mix of the two. But let's talk about this article. This article from Fandroid is saying that the OnePlus Z was spotted on Geekbench, and it's pretty much what you'd expect. So according to the reports, OnePlus is set to revive its OnePlus X lineup with a new phone, the OnePlus Z. If you guys are not familiar, and I don't mean to keep interrupting, but the OnePlus X, I never owned one, but I think that was a $300 price point, a much cheaper phone that could be had. And I can't remember if it did well or if it sold out. But yeah, so that's what this OnePlus Z is supposed to be, kind of a revival of the OnePlus X. Unlike the OnePlus 8 series, the OnePlus Z is said to be more affordable, and thanks to a Geekbench sighting, potential specs of the upcoming handset has been revealed, and we can't say we're surprised. Assuming this Geekbench sighting is accurate, the OnePlus Z is expected to come with 12 gigs of RAM, which is a huge amount of RAM, and will be using the Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset. This is particularly important, as the use of the Snapdragon 765G suggests that the phone will support 5G, meaning that this will be a phone with a hopefully affordable price tag that also comes with 5G connectivity. So let's talk about this real quick too. And I know I'm looking now, and it's the next paragraph, but this OnePlus Z that was supposed to be coming out, or that is coming out, at first they were talking about giving it a MediaTek chipset, and it was going to use the Dimensity. Well, this one's saying the Dimensity 1000. Why did I think the Dimensity 800? But if it was going to use that Dimensity 1000, I think that's something that is faster than a 765G, probably even faster than a 768G, and but slower than a Snapdragon 855 or an 865, but still better performing. And then news came out that Qualcomm had either, I don't know, found a way to talk to OnePlus about using their 765G instead, either giving them a good deal on it or whatever. And if that's the case, then that's probably why we're seeing Snapdragon being used instead of the MediaTek Dimensity 1000 chipset. So whatever price point, whatever talks behind the scenes, we don't know. We're not privy to that. But it looks like they're going to stick with Qualcomm. Whether that's a good thing or not, we'll see. It's funny. I have like a bunch of phones sitting here, but what was I trying to think of? The Snapdragon 765. God, I had a brain fart. The Snapdragon 765G chipset might be pretty good. And I'm only saying that because I have been using the Galaxy A71 now for the past couple of days. And that has a Snapdragon 730 chipset in it, and it does pretty well for what it is right now. And so it gives me hope that the 765G will be pretty good. So if you'd rather, let me go in here real quick. If you'd rather not fork out close to $1,000 for a 5G smartphone, then the OnePlus Z could be the phone for you. What's also interesting is that earlier rumors had suggested that the OnePlus Z might actually use the MediaTek Dimensity 1000 chipset, but this Geekbench listing is now suggesting otherwise. Apart from the choice of chipset and RAM, I'm actually really surprised that they have a version with 12 gigs of RAM in it. I would have expected just 8, which is more than enough, I think. But if they want to put 12, go ahead and put 12 OnePlus. The Geekbench listing does not reveal other specs of the phone, although previously leaked images and renders have indicated that the phone could come with a dual rear-facing camera setup, a hole-punch front-facing camera, and an in-display fingerprint sensor. None of that should be surprising. I feel like a lot of that should be standard at this point. The phone is also said to be priced around the $500 mark and could be launching this July. So that's the big kicker for me, is the $500 price point. Not something I expected. I think I read earlier reports, and obviously, none of this is concrete, but we can sit here, we can talk about it, we can speculate, and we can talk about whatever competition comes out for it. So the OnePlus Z pricing at $500, I think would be the perfect price point for this phone. If they price this at $500 and Google decides to price their Pixel 5 at $700, that's going to have the same chipset, they're going to have an uphill battle, because then you're going to have me live or making a video saying that why would you spend $700 on a Pixel 5 when you can get the OnePlus Z for $500. Now, there are a lot of factors that go into this, that play into this. We can talk about the LG Velvet, right? The LG Velvet has that same Snapdragon 765G, the same Snapdragon 765G chipset, and that LG Velvet is selling for over $700 right now in South Korea. It's planning to be released in Europe, and it's planning to make its way even further west in the US. But is it going to be priced at $700 here? Because if it is, I'm probably going to say that it's probably not worth it either, unless the camera is outstanding. And that's the thing. So if the Pixel 5 comes out in the States, prices at $700 with the 765G chipset, that's going to be the same as the OnePlus Z. That's going to be priced at $500. Is that extra $200 worth it for the camera? That's the real question. But so I can't sit here and tell you it's going to be worth it, because I don't know how good that camera is going to be. I don't know how the camera is going to fare against this OnePlus Z. It's all speculation. We don't know all the concrete numbers. What if the Pixel 5 comes out with 6 gigs of RAM only versus this that'll come out with 8 gigs or 12 gigs? I mean, there's a lot of things to look at. We don't know what the display is going to be. If the Pixel 5 is going to have a 120 hertz refresh rate, is this going to have a 90 hertz refresh rate? It's all up in the air. It's a lot of speculation, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing to talk about. I hope the Z should get the 768G. I mean, I hope so too, but I'll be happy with the 765G if they price it at $500. I think that'll be a really good price. Team Verizon says the OPZ is interesting. Looks like it's set to take on the SE and the 3A, 4A. I agree. I just don't know where it's going to compete when it comes to the camera. I think that's the real question here. Dimensity 1000 or the 1000 Plus would be perfect with the slogan, quote, lead with speed and stay cheap. Agreed, because the Dimensity 1000 or 1000 Plus would, excuse me, would have been better in terms of performance, right? I think so. Yeah, it would be better in terms of performance versus the Snapdragon 765G. And maybe it would have gave a little more popularity to the Dimensity 1000. But, I mean, we'll see if that's what they end up using. Kyle Brass says the 765 is still 14% slower than the 835. Yep, that doesn't surprise me, but faster than the 820 and 821. It'll still be great for 4K video recording and gaming on top of 5G access. So thank you for sharing that. That's good to know. Kyle also says also for that price, Poco F2 for the win. Right. What do you think the Poco F2 is going to be priced at? Did they say what it's going to be priced at? Because isn't the Poco F2 Pro pricing at 500, 540? Shit, it is, right? And then the Poco F2 Pro is the one that has a Snapdragon 865 chipset. Yeah. So something to think about. Actually, I have another article that's talking about a deal for a phone, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Okay, so Yeah, Brian says Poco looks solid for 500 bucks. Mahir Pandhada Pande. Hey, Mahir, what's going on, man? Glad you can make it. Personally, I'd prefer even a used OnePlus over a Poco. Once you go oxygen, you just can't go back. And I mean, you make a really good point, Mahir, because for me, I'm one of those people too, where the software experience makes a big difference in a phone. And I've never used a Poco. I don't know what the experience is like. I have been using this Galaxy A71 with Samsung One UI, and it's not bad, but there are a couple of things that tick me off, and I wish there were things I could add on to it. But that's what Nova Launcher's for. That's what adding these other things are for. And eventually, when I get a little more time, I really want to get into modding and stuff. And but I totally see your point. And it's hard to not, or it's hard not to disagree on some of that. So I hear you. I hear you.